Is this?
Clicks to this one. Yes.
Oh, but it doesn't, it's not in like
It's not like
in
100%.
present mode?
While Rochelle is getting that figured out, I will just take a moment to say hello. It's great to be back down here again. I think it's been, what, 3 years since we've all been together down here at SWAVO, so times seem to be changing and back in a good direction, so I hope we can do more of these presentations as, as we move forward in the future. I see a lot of new faces out there, so I'm glad that we're still growing and changing. And I also wanted to, it looks like we're almost there.
No.
No.
Keep going.
We're not there, we're not there yet. I also wanted to take this moment,
Too true for the last.
we do have a new grant analyst, and I know a lot of you work with Amy Dorsey. I know Karen did, CJC's rural police departments. Amy Dorsey moved on to greener pastures for herself, and she's a program manager of another grant in Salt Lake City. So that's great for her, but we have managed to hire Danette Stinger from YCC. I don't know if anybody's familiar with her, but she's in the very back there. If you want to just get up and tell your life story, I'm just kidding, I'm not doing any of that. But we're very fortunate to have her, and our team is changing and growing as well. So we.
You know what? Oh, did you? Yeah, I'll scroll it for you. Yeah.
Are you sure?
You just pointed at me and I'll scroll.
We'll just say, okay.
Okay, so this is the most interesting topic to talk about, and I think that this morning's presenter actually went over a slide of it that talked about advocacy and lobbying with things you can't do pretty well. But Mariah and I will go into it a little bit more with the rules and regulations, and this stuff is in your certified assurances. If you guys are bored and want to read those, I know. Rose finds that funny. That's great. Yeah, they'll help you sleep at night. I'll tell you that. So, anyways, if we could scroll to the next slide.
All right. So as mentioned, they are in your certified assurances and grant conditions. I think it's in section A. So right off the bat, and it is in across all grants, VAWA, VOCA, SAS. And this is literally what is written straight out of there. It goes into 2 sections of the code. So the first part, federal funds may not be used for, and the other part to mention, I forgot, is this is pretty much word for word what we get from the federal government. So we just literally in our certified assurances replace OVW or OVC with UOVC. So it's important to know that we are also held to the same standard that we are or certified assurance that we are passing down to subgrantees as well. So we don't make it up. So federal funds cannot be used, but subrecipient either directly or indirectly in support of the enactment, repeal, modification, or adoption of any law, regulation, or policy at any level of government. Again, there's the code, and we'll talk about all of the codes at the very end, give you links to those. And then also it prohibits funds awarded by UOVC being used by the recipient to pay any person to influence a federal agency, a member of Congress, or Congress with respect to the awarding of federal grants or sub-awards. And there's the other code.
Great, I think we can scroll. Yeah, so this slide is pretty much just basically going back over it. You may not use federal grant funds or cost sharing funds to conduct lobbying activities. 2 of the main ones that we see are the grassroots lobbying, where you're attempting to influence legislation by affecting the opinion of the public. And then the other one would be the direct lobbying, where you're attempting to influence the legislative body through communications with a member or employee of a legislative body or with the government official who participates in formulating legislation. One thing to keep in mind is that you can educate. If they ask you to, please educate those that are making these decisions and laws. And you can also provide expert testimony if they ask you to as well.
That was frequently asked question number 1, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, so you can, just to go off of that, you can testify as a subject matter expert in front of the legislature. That is not against or not constitute lobbying. Another frequently asked question, and we just kind of get these as they build up over the years, so things have been asked regards to legislate or lobbying. And it is also an allowable activity to use federal funds to collaborate with or provide information to federal, state, local, tribal, or territorial public officials and agencies to develop and implement policies designed to reduce or eliminate violent crime.
And then Ryan, you might have to help me with this one, but because it seems like it's out of place here, but it's also within the rules that they talk about with lobbying. And the question is, may subrecipients bill for staff membership dues, which are related to victim services funded under the subaward, such as national organizations or social work licensing? Yes, this is something that you can pay for, and we do pay for these things in our grants. So I guess it's just a connection with lobbying and paying for these things, which is what I was struggling with when I read this.
So we do have the links of like everything that's permittable and not permittable, and you can read those and we'll give those to you. But we thought it's a little easier just to kind of break it down into a chart of what's permitted, what's not permitted. So first we'll go over what's permitted. It's really small. Can you guys see it, or do you want to try? I don't know if we can
You
make it
can
bigger.
scan the barcode on your desk, so it'll take you to the link.
I'll kind of just go through them quickly. If you have questions.
We can read them.
Conduct public education and training sessions about participation on the political process, that is permitted. Develop materials and distribute generally, as long as they do not encourage others to influence Congress on specific legislation. Meet with or speak with policymakers about legislation before the legislation is introduced. Testify at public hearings, provide research and commentary. Okay, so this one, I guess we updated it, but it didn't get updated. So the criticize sitting elected officials, but not attacking personal character. We felt like maybe a different word for that would be like if you disagree with an elected official, you may kind of more educate on what the ramifications might be towards victims if the legislation were to go forward or things like that. So I think that's probably a better way to phrase that. Interacting with legislators using private non-earmarked funds to lobby. Those are all permitted activities that do not constitute lobbying.
And some of the things that you cannot do would be things like raising funds for candidates, making campaign contributions, either cash or in kind, policy support or oppose candidates or post partisan political messages on social media sites. So you have to be careful what you're putting on social media. And then this is like the overall one, which is using federal funds to lobby. You can't do that as well. And then during an election, compare organizations' issue position with that of the candidate. So there's a conflict there as well.
Do you guys have questions about any of those or the wording on any of those? I would like to point out or highlight either cash or in kind. So if you're using matching funds, those also cannot be used for lobbying activities.
There was a question back there. Brianna, you saw it?
Do you want me to bring the?
Oh, I was just gonna say, what if they're really, really bad?
What if they're really, really bad?
Bad.
That's why we have talent. That's where we'll send you her. She's got a couple that she feels strongly about.
Well, the example that Carrie just gave me in the back was, well, what if they become governor or something like that? You probably don't want to criticize them too much.
You never know who's going to be your boss in this field.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
What's going on back there?
What's
I
going-
know.
Do you need a microphone, Gary? You sure? We might have one or two.
This one, if you are questioning if it's a lobbying activity, if it's allowable, permittable, not permittable, just contact us. I think it's on the safer side to try and contact us and have a discussion prior to doing that. We would just encourage you to, open communication with us.
Yeah, Brian and I aren't like the experts when it comes to a
No.
lot of these things,
No.
but we do have access to experts that know about these things. So for Bawa, she could reach out to her grant manager, Omar, and for Boca, I could reach out to our grant manager, Shilpa. And those guys really give us a lot of great information. If we have questions, they can let us know things.
That is any of my questions.
Maddie, did you have a question?
Where did you get that sweet website?
Okay, yeah, I think this is me, just wrapping up, so are we good? Does anyone have any questions about this? I know it was kind of boring, fast. There's links here if you guys want, and as Rochelle said, I think if you scan the QR code, you can get to the links if you even want more boring information to read outside of the certified assurance, something that you should already be reading. You want to get into federal statutes, that's great, that's really great. So, and the Utah code as well.
Yeah.
Very tiny, our email addresses are there, but I think.
Don't use that, no.
I think most of you know, that if you're getting book or ballot funding in the state of Utah, you guys probably have our email addresses. If not, you can just call UOVC and Charlene will get you right over to us. So, yeah, that's it. That's it. for us.
That's it.
Okay, well, excellent.